In life, you're going to come across five kinds of people. What person are you? I find when it comes to money, financial preparation, life insurance, financial services, and just financial literacy in a whole, I've come across five specific key kinds of people. And I'll explain them to you, and you tell me who you are, what category you fall in, or you just tell yourself, and then we can have a comment below, more info, and we can have a further conversation about this. The first one is the person who has directly benefited from the financial services industry or life insurance. They know the benefits of it. They use it on a regular basis. Oftentimes, they're the ones who don't share the information. They normally use it for generational wealth, so they pass it from family, from generation to generation in a life insurance policy, and they usually have some kind of safeguards in place. So you hear about, this the trust fund babies. Have you heard about them? That's what it's called because those families or those generational wealth mindsets have been able to put things in place so they have those things set up for themselves. Number two, these are the people who have life insurance with their jobs. So they have the 401ks and they have their retirement plans or they have their life insurance with their jobs. And oftentimes it's a match with the 401k. But as you see in the market right now, because those 401ks are oftentimes to mutual funds and the stock market, you're seeing exactly what's happening to it. It's not looking good right now. People are losing 20, 30, 40% of their 401ks. As a matter of fact, 401ks are going like a 201Bs right now, really. And I'm talking about this goes for 501c3s, 403Bs. It goes for the SEP IRAs. It goes for it all. The taxes and the interest rates are going crazy. But these people, oftentimes with their jobs, they have the security of having it with their jobs. But when they lose their jobs, oftentimes they lose their coverage, especially with life insurance. And in similar cases, they can keep it. Sometimes it's at the same price, oftentimes it's at a higher price. But again, you have to pay out now out of pocket for this additional coverage. And again, likewise with the 401k and those insurance policies, you see how things are changing in the world and in the industry right now. The third kind of person, right? These are the people who have it independently. These are the people who are taking the time to learn the financial services industry. These are the people who are paying attention to what's going on. And they have policies in place. They've set up for themselves independent, permanent policies like an index universal life insurance plan or permanent policy that they have now set aside to then use as living benefits or long-term care for their family. So they already have that security nest in place. They're the people who oftentimes have the opportunity to pay less in taxes as well. See, the first kind, they really pay little in taxes because their money is really passed down from generation to generation in a life insurance policy. So they don't pay much taxes on that. The second kind, they pay moderate tax because it's then gone through the job. So through the corporate tax, and again, America does a lot of taxes on businesses. So when the taxes go up on the businesses, when the companies have your retirement locked into their businesses and the businesses are being taxed, in this times of high inflation, high interest rates, you see the economic downfall of the crisis we're in right now. People are losing it. But again, back to the third kind, the people who have it independently, they're the ones who also are able to have some of those tax shelters as well because they've understood how to roll over their IRAs or their 401ks into an index universal fund. So now they have now the security and the stability and the safety net of the provide what can be provided of a life insurance policy. Now comes the fourth kind of person. These are the people who are rich. And I'm talking about the people who are like Michael Jackson, Bob Marley. I'm talking about Joe Robbie rich. You know what I'm talking about? And why do I mention these names? Because these are people who are prominently rich but passed without a will in place. These are people who passed without the life insurance benefit so that it could be passed down from generation to generation. These are people who we all know. Think about Joe Robbie. This is a stadium. I know music lives forever, but think about the history of football. The Joe Robbie Stadium, he paid like $7.5 million for that building. It cost him about $115 million of his own money to build it all up. And think about it all together. That was $1 billion idea. And after he died, his family had to sell it all off just to pay for the taxes. But this is what happens. So you see some of these artists out there and they got all this money. You think, oh, they got it. You know they got it. Don't think so. And you as an artist, or you might be a business owner, you think, okay, I'm working my job. You kind of fit in that same category as well because you are the person, you are the breadwinner of your family. If something happens to you, what happens to your family financially? If you are the breadwinner for your family, think about it. If you are the breadwinner for your family, you have children that are relying and depending on you to provide an income. And you get, God forbid, something happens and you get paralyzed. God forbid something happens and you lose your job long term. God forbid something happens and you get chronically or terminally ill. What happens? What happens to your family at that point? You can no longer provide an income. Your business can no longer operate. You got your car wash. You got your pop-up shop. You got your food truck. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to your family when you can't go out and provide income with your food truck? What happens with your family when you can't go out and provide a car wash to go wash cars? What's going to happen to your family when you can't take your lawn service to go detail or do lawns? When you're a barber, you see, I say this because this is the backbone of America. And I mention you in the category of the people who are rich and famous because when you start your business, you all have a dream to make it, and that's why you work so hard for your family to achieve. But what's the point of working so hard for your family to achieve and not have a plan in place for your family to receive lifetime residual benefits from that? Because you have an opportunity in a way to set up an opportunity and a way to set that up for yourself. So it's passed on to a family a way you intended. Then there's the third or the fourth, or now this is the fifth kind of people. And the fifth kind of mindset is very simple. These are the people who are poor in mind and poor in their pockets. It's simple. They're poor in mind because they don't have access to information. They're poor in mindset, they don't believe they need it. These are the people who often pay more in taxes. So when the tax time comes, they're the first one to catch the W-2 and they're the first one to get taxes on their paychecks. These are the people who oftentimes only make $500 a week. Think about it, we're in 2020 now, 2023, and people are still working for $400 or $500 a week. And jobs are still offering that as if $400 or $500 a week is something to live for. When most nurses right now are making $2,000 in a week. So a nurse can make what a regular person who's hustling or striving to pay their bills is making in a month. And I'm talking about service workers. I'm talking about people who work in service industries, food industries, restaurants. Think about all the restaurants you go to, know the servers and the waiters and the waitresses that you see. Think about the service that they give. Most of those people only make about $500 to $800 maybe in a week, so they live for the tips that you give them. So when you go to a service in your restaurant and you get good service, make sure you tip your waitress or your waiters, all right? And don't just give the 5 or the 10 or the 15%. Give them a little something extra, because guess what? In these times, they out here busting ass to feed their family, you know, and that's real talk. So you get good service as a person who's been in the service industry, please tip your waiters and your waitresses, especially when you get good service. And if you're watching this and you're a waiter and you're a waitress and you're coming from this industry and you understand somebody who understands it, listen, make sure you give a quality service, because you understand that it's not just the restaurant, because the restaurant fires you today, you got to go find another restaurant to work at and sell yourself to these customers just to serve a plate to get wages. But I'd like to introduce you to a sixth way, kind of like the sixth sense, right? So what if you had an opportunity for every person that you served to be helped, that you help, every person that you have as a client to pay you residually for the rest of your life? What if there was a way for you to learn from about this industry? How you can be licensed in this industry by the state, how you yourself can change your family's legacy simply by learning a new skill. Listen, it's only 24 hours in a day, ladies and gentlemen. We all got the same 24 hours. If you don't create more value, you won't get paid for better skills. But how can you create value if you don't have new skills? So I challenge you. If you're any of these mindsets, I challenge you. In this time, in this season, think about where you are, what bracket or what mindset you fall in, and how can you make a difference? Whether you're the mindset one who, you know, you benefited from life insurance, you know, your family passed it on to you, and you know your family has given you a trust fund, or you're a beneficiary of, you know, somebody, and you know it's already set up so it's being passed on. Maybe you're a person who, you know, you're getting it through your job, and you know You want to understand what can I do now that I have it, or how can I better put this into my family to not be taxed as much, or how can I leverage my income with them what I'm getting from my job to then put myself in a better position. Maybe you're the third kind. You're already in the industry. You already have a policy. Listen, take the time now to educate your friends, your neighbors, and your family about the benefits of financial services and to protecting themselves with life insurance. This is the biggest time that I've ever seen this information more prevalent. And why? Because the financial industry is changing. It is changing. It is changing. And this is the reason why you need to understand the power behind what is happening right now. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying, if you're poor in mind and you're in poor in pockets and you want to stay there, then guess what? This message is not for you. Nothing I said resonated. You think I'm absolutely crazy, and that's absolutely fine. I'll make a message at the end of this for you, especially. But for me, if anything that I said today offended you, I apologize. And again, my friend at the end will explain exactly why. But for me right now, I just want to say thank you very much for your time. God bless, God's best, and Godspeed every time. Bless up.